We're up to Sefer Chavetz Chaim 143. Condition number 3. When must one rebuke the sinner before speaking about him and when not? When do you have to give the guy musar before you speak about him? And when can you just speak about him? So, okay, condition number 3. We have seen that with regard to Lashon Hara, one may not speak negatively about someone for Te'elis. You can't speak about somebody negative, even for a purpose, without first discussing with that person who you're speaking about what you're talking about. I mean, you got to discuss the matter. An exception to this is a case where speaking to the guy would prevent the result from being achieved. We spoke about this in the past. Now, basically, if you're going to speak to him and then he's going to do it's going to create the opposite from it, it doesn't pay to speak to him, to try to speak with him. So that's, when does it help, when does it not? When do you do it, when do you don't do it? Well, if it's going to help, then you speak to him. If it's not going to help, then don't speak. With regard to rechilos, the exception may be more common than the rule. When an individual has already harmed someone or is about to harm someone, one should not enter into a discussion with him concerning the matter if this would make it more difficult for the victim to protect himself or to get back money. See, Lashon Hara, you're saying about a guy who already did something. Pretty much. Rechilos is you're saying the guy did it, but you're telling somebody to kind of protect himself. Here you go in a Lashon Hara, you go over, you're just talking about the guy. I hate to say it, the guy already did this to you. He's saying he did this to you. This is what, right? So, if you go back to the guy who you said it about, right? He said, hey, he said that you are a thief. And you go back to the original thief, right? And you tell him, obviously he's going to try to cover up all the evidence. So the guy who said to you, oh, that guy's a thief, he ripped me off. So now, you just gave the goods to the thief, and the thief's going to go and protect himself from the other guy who's trying to either get the money. You follow me? You can't make any plan anymore. It's like telling a guy about somebody that they're making a birthday party about him. He's not going to be shocked when he comes into the party. Same thing over here, but it's a lot worse, obviously. You tell a guy, yeah, that guy told me that you ripped him off. He said, really? So there's a couple ways that he can deal with this. He goes, oh my gosh, really? He said that about me? What did he say I did? I did. Now he finds out all the information, and then he can go clean up. Oh, really? That's what he said I did? So he goes back, gets rid of that evidence. That first guy comes who spoke about him, says, look, and you just got papers. He goes, papers? What papers? Take a look. It says right here, everything's kosher. Right? Can you imagine, let's say, guys, you say about a guy, his guy's restaurant's treif. If you go over to the guy and speak to him and say, sir, you got to stop, selling kosher, the treif of food, but right? Okay. Or you go over to somebody, whatever that might be, that kind of story. But how about if Yankel, the Aaron here tells me that Shmerel over there is selling treif, and Aaron knows for a fact, and Aaron's going to go and show, right? He went to that whole training we had about kashrus, and he's going to go and he's going to show you how the locks were tampered with, and right? In the meantime, and you go over to this, Shmerel, and you say, Shmerel, Aaron said that you've been playing games with the meat, and he says, really? He said that about me? And he says, oh, that's horrible. What else did he say? He said, yeah, you've been playing the locks, and the locks can be removed. And he said, really? That's what he said, all right. And then Shmerel goes and fixes the whole thing up. Aaron comes to the show and says, look, here are the locks. Shmerel goes, oh, what locks? Oh, I never had those kind of locks that you're talking about. I never had that kind of stuff. Take a look at my whole freezer. Look at all the meat. Everything's 100% kosher. So, you just blew it. All right? So sometimes, when should you go to tell the guy? Not if it's going to undermine and ruin the whole thing in the first place, right? For everyone to protect themselves from this guy. You hear? Okay. In other situations of rechilus, then teichacha, giving the guy musar, rebuke, is what you have to do beforehand. And then, obviously, you need to discuss with the guy before, the need to speak rechilus about him. And then try to fix up the whole situation. But if the guy, like we said, is going to, which, like I said, rechilus, that's what he starts off saying, a very interesting thing. In most cases, it's not helpful to give the guy musar. Because then the guy's just going to find out the information that was said about him and fix it up, not to really change, but to kind of cover up so he doesn't have to either pay back or fix up the evidence.